Hi everyone, my name's Michelle, my Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. I missed you last week. Yeah, I was on my hollybobs. We had a fabulous time. I'll tell you all a bit about it later. But yeah, I missed doing it. I considered doing a little FlossTube while we were up in North Wales because the internet there was actually far better than our internet here, and I was like, I'll be able to upload it. But then by the time we got back, it was a bit late. And so I just decided to focus on a bit of stitching, a bit of family time, and it was lovely. Right, I've got to tell you, my most exciting news ever in the history of my stitching, the most exciting news. If you've already seen the most recent FlossTube from the attic, right the way to the very end, you might already know my exciting news. But I am going to the attic. I know. I am going for Sampler Symposium in January 2025. But not only that, I am going to be a guest speaker at the attic for Sampler Symposium for 2025. I am. When Jean asked me, you could have knocked me down with a feather. You genuinely could have. Jean has always been the kindest person to me and so supportive of my stitching and my designing and my reproductions. And when she asked me if I would come and speak at the attic because she'd heard about one of the other talks that I'd given, I couldn't believe it. And we've made it happen. You know, with other commitments and everything, we've made it happen, and I will be there. It will be a super flying visit, but I will be there for that weekend to give a talk, and I'm going to be speaking about Welsh samplers and also about how to research samplers, Welsh samplers and other sort of British samplers in general. So I'm going to be talking about that. I cannot wait. I've got so many lovely things planned, and then I have to remember I've got to take all those lovely things in one suitcase as well as things to wear, because I'm pretty sure that I need to be clothed for the talk. As much as I would love to bring my big Welsh girls with me, I'm not sure that 3 samplers, which are 1 metre by 1 metre in their frame, constitute as hand luggage on any given airway. So that's my news. That is my news. I am beyond excited, and I cannot wait. I can't wait to meet everybody that might be going. I can't wait to show you all what it's like. I can't wait to try and pack everything that I buy in the attic. You know, one of everything, please. I just can't wait to meet everybody. It is going to be singularly the most exciting thing that's happened to me in stitching. I can't wait. That's my news. Might as well finish there. It's not going to get any better than that. Oh, right, let me show you what I've been up to. Here is my planner, and this is the Cross Stitcher Planner. This is 2024 by Laurie. She is doing another one next year, and she has asked me to contribute a design, so keep an eye out for these. I've loved using this planner this year. And you might see something else. I've stuck in one of my labels. Now I saw this, I have shamelessly pinched this from Sian, who is the periwinkle stitcher, and she had stuck in a couple of her floss tags when she particularly used a lot of that colour that month, just a reminder. And I thought, I've just finished one and I've used loads of it this month because I have focused quite a lot on one piece, and so I'm going to pinch that. That's a fabulous idea. So I'm going to show you what I've been working on, and then I've got some really exciting news for Sampler September. I've got a little purchase to show you, which I've already pretty much charted. I think you're going to be really interested in seeing that. I've got 2 freebies because I missed one the week before. I've got a little bit of haul, but just really exciting news. I've got lots of SAL information, actually, SALs that I'm already part of, SALs that I'm going to be part of, and the ones that you might be interested in. I have written down a few notes as well today, so I'm going to try not to forget anything. So let's get on with the stitching. So the first thing I did since I last spoke to you, and you're going to have to forgive me for the gurgling because the washing machine's on in the garage, but it shares a sink drain with the one in the kitchen, so it sounds like think somebody's having a jacuzzi in the corner here. I can promise you they're not. So we got this at the Big Stitch and I stitched it up. Now, of course, I didn't use the called for threads. I decided I wanted to do mine in red. So mainly because I'm planning a little sort of red, white and blue set based around some of the Big Stitch things. So that is what the design looks like. We had some special Gloriana thread to stitch it with, which I did. I used a red Silks for You, I think. So there's that, and I finished that. It didn't take very long. And you make it into a little pin cushion. Oh, here we go, gurgle, gurgle, gurgle again. So I should be doing that at some point in time. And then I decided to work on a salve for a little bit, just because I knew I was already a bit behind with this particular salve, like quite a lot behind. So it's the salve that comes in this bag. So this is a historic sampler company stitch along for Halloween, which is called Happy Halloween. Oh, you wouldn't believe, oh my goodness me, I'm really embarrassed to show you this. I had ironed this, but it would appear that I have really just crumpled it back up and put it in the bag in such a crumpled fashion. Oh my goodness me. I'm gonna have to show you this again next week. I'll do some more and I'll show you again next week. I have done a little bit on the witch. I have done this border up here. This has actually been fully released now, and I'm stitching it on the world's most crumpled piece of 32 count Murky by Picture This Plus. I remembered having ironed that last week and I thought, oh, it'll be all nice in the bag. Would appear not. There we go. Let's try this again, see if I can. I can't make it look any better. Sorry, I can't make it look any better. Oh no. So I did some work on that because I knew I was quite far behind and I wanted to get up to date on that. I'm not up to date, but I'm further forward than I was. So I did a little bit of work on that before we went on holiday. I also started all of my Big Stitch projects. I just decided to start everything because I just knew if I didn't start them, they would sort of get put back in the pile, and then I kind of lose that memory of them all being together, if that makes sense. So let me show you what I started. I started this one. Excuse the rustling. This was the exclusive that Jacob did for the retreat, which is called Big Stitch Big Tree Rotherham 2024. And I am stitching it in Roxy Floss Co. Swagger. Whoops, because that was one of our table gifts from Caroline and Kerry. They put together a lovely bag of table gifts. And I am stitching it on a piece of 36 count fibre on a whim Silver Fox. Oops, needle stuck together. And this is part of my red, white and blue stitch. So it'll fit, it will fit on there. So what I'm going to do is stitch most of it in red, and then my idea was to stitch all the little kind of unattached doodads in white. So at the top here we've got the little squares, then we've got some more squares here. So anything that's kind of not attached to this main bit, I was going to do in white. So it would be, again, I don't know quite what I've done with this. There's my red, my white and my blue. I was going to turn this into a red, white and blue project bag, and then I'm going to have my pin cushion inside of it. So that was the plan. So I got a little start on that. And I also got a little start on, now the number of people that have messaged me about this and said about this, Harriet, British Animal Cracker series from Stacey Nash. I got a little start on this. I bought the thread pack and found the most enormous hoop to put them on. All Weeks Dye Works. And I have started it. Oops. There we go. I've got some disembodied feet on a piece of 36 count hot chocolate, which was a Fox and Rabbit fabric of the month. So it's that kind of purpley brown, mauvey brown colour that's called for in the picture. And then I'd also put with it this little piece of fabric, which was in a very small little pouch that I was given by a lady called Debbie. And I was trying to keep everything that I'd got at Big Stitch together and try and use things that I'd got at Big Stitch to finish things off. So using that fabric with this design, using that thread with the other design, just to try and make everything kind of Big Stitchy stay together, if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. Just because it was such a good place, it was such good memories. I just want everything that's kind of Big Stitchy to be started, on the go, not getting lost, even if it is crumpled. Oh, there's not laying that against there. And then with the Big Stitch, I was gifted this chart from Chris, my lovely friend Chris. And this is by Eileen Bennett, Multiplication Table Sampler. Now, I'd never heard of Eileen Bennett, and I guarantee to you in the last 2 weeks, I've heard the name more times than I've ever heard it, which was never, not to my recollection anyway. So this is mostly stitched over 2 at the border, but pretty much everything on this inside is over 1. So I wanted to get, washing machine's finished, thankfully. I wanted to get a good start on it. And I really, really enjoyed it. Now here are the threads. Got my little thread ring, my little cotton clay heart on it that was given to me at Big Stitch. So here are the colours that I've picked out. I have added in a few extra colours because I don't know if this has got a date on it or not, but it is sort of, there's the red, there we go, there's one there, 1988, I was 9. It's got the blues and greens on the outside, the red, and then everything else is kind of like a brown. So I wanted to introduce a few more colours. So I've gone with some sort of greens, greys. The red I'm using is a Silks for You red, same one I did the Big Stitch from Haystack Stitching in. And then I've picked out some other little colours. And I actually had this sat on my frame for a little while. And once I took the chatelaine off, I still had my frame out. And so I'm actually quite pleased with what I've done. So this is the border here. This is over 2 over 2. So I'm stitching this on 28 count antique ivory, I think it is. As well, I got antique ivory. I don't think it's antique white, I'm sure it's got an ivory in it. And it will take up most of this. Well, no, about 2/3, sorry, 2/3, 3/4, Michelle, come on, 3/4 of this. And I've really enjoyed stitching these little blocks. Let me see if I can get you a close-up of like specialty stitch. What's that? Hoping it's just red fluff. So these little blocks of specialty stitches, I've really enjoyed those. I've already done a few personalisations. That bird's supposed to be a bit further up, but I forgot to leave space for him, so he's a bit further down. I think I'll probably put another one in somewhere, but there's going to be a lot of over 1. As I said, this whole block in the middle is going to be over 1. So what I've been doing is looking at a way of trying to draw the blocks of the numbers using straight stitch and then put the numbers themselves in over one cross stitch, because otherwise I think I might be 100 by the time I finish that table. But really, really enjoying it and just loving making those colours just a little bit more current and a little bit more poppy. Poppy, is that a word? Don't know. So that was the last of my sort of big stitch things, because Chris gave that to me at Big Stitch. So that kind of, with my brain, goes to the Big Stitch stuff. The thing that I've worked on most, and you perhaps if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen this in my pictures from North Wales. I worked on this when Ness and Chris were in Zip World. Now, they didn't go on the really big zip line that goes across the slate mines, the slate quarries. They went on, there's loads of things. They went on like this tree hoppers thing, which has got zip lines and climbing through trees and all of that sort of stuff. They went on that. And then they went on this alpine roller coaster thing, which comes herring down the hillside. And you can apply the brake, but I would have just had my hand on the brake the whole time. I'd have like inched down. They'd have had to drag me off of it. Anyway, so I looked after the dog, which suited me down to the ground because it meant I got a little bit of stitching in a couple of times. And then they went to bounce below one of the other days, and so I managed to get a bit of stitching in there. So the thing I've worked on most is this modern folk embroidery. It's called the Little Bird Quaker Sampler, which isn't one I see people stitching a lot actually. And I seem to remember I had to buy this one from his website, not Etsy. I don't even know if he's still got his Etsy store going, but go to his website. It's far, far better. You can keep a control of all the patterns you've ever downloaded as well, which is great if you're like me and you forget. So this is where I am. I have cracked on with this 36 count Winter Moon, which is a colour I really like. And it's stitched in orange, kind of a reddy, and then an orange again. So I'll show you what the colours are in a minute. I just wanted to have two colours just to kind of break it up a little bit. And I've decided I am going to personalise it, and I'm going to put a little personalised strip along the bottom as well. I was thinking about trying to put initials into some of the cartouches and things, and it just wouldn't quite do it how I wanted to do it. So that's where I am. And I am using chili pepper, hence in fact, let's get on to the ones that aren't scabby that I've messed around. So I'm using chili pepper for the orange part, and then the red is cranberry. And I've just actually ordered another 3 or 4 skeins of this from Peakside for another of Jacob's projects. So let's have another look at this one. Absolutely beautiful. I'm really, really, really enjoying stitching this. I have done a lot in here. I've started over here. I've finished the alphabets apart from that one row, and then I hardly had anything down in the bottom. So I've kind of placed out where the motifs need to be. So I'm loving that. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Oh, we were at Zip World. I fell over. I hate falling over, but I'm quite prone to falling over as well. I've got the balance of like Bambi on ice at the best of times, and I just tripped up this step and I just literally went, forgive the phrase, arse over tit. And this woman came rushing over, and there was a bit too much concern, if I'm honest. That's how you know when you're getting old. Try falling over. This is what happens, right? If you fall over and somebody says to you, oh, you fell over, that's okay. You're all right. You're not getting old. If you hear anybody saying to somebody else, Michelle's had a fall, that's it. Had a fall. that signifies the borderline to being old, and the amount of concern when you fall over as well. This lady came running over, and I of course by that time sort of got upright quite quickly, and I've got this massive bruise on my knee, I've got one on my arm, and then Chris said to me, "What's the other bruise on your arm?" I said, "That's where I banged into a door handle." He's like, "What are you doing with your life?" Just literally ricocheting off furniture. And yeah, he said, "I saw someone fall over." He said, "I just thought this old lady had fallen over." I was like, "Old lady, thank you very much for that." So yeah, hopefully when I go to the attic I won't have stories of falling over at the attic, because that would just be really embarrassing. But yeah, completely arse over it. Anyway, right, that is all my stitching that I've done. That's all the stitching. I have got one little freebie first of all, which is a little Blackbird Designs freebie, and it's because I've seen somebody do something current with it, but also to point you in the direction of a brilliant FlossTube. So my printer is on the way out. So this is not pink. This is called Souvenir de France by Blackbird Designs. Now the reason that I'm showing you this is because I have seen somebody who has added the Olympic rings in place of the Souvenir de France in the bottom, or as well as, I can't quite remember whether they took them out completely or whether they had that in as well, and changed the date to 2024. Now I know we've had the Olympics already, but there is the Paralympics to come, which actually I prefer to the main Olympics. I love, love, love watching the Paralympics. So that would be a really cool stitch to do, just to commemorate the Olympics in 2024. Now, the FlossTube that you must go and watch is Lady Hazar, who is Lisa. She has done a smorgasbord of Blackbird designs, and she shows you the ones that she stitched, how she's personalised them, how she's finished them. It's fabulous. It's really, really fabulous. So go and have a look, go and watch. There's a giveaway. Go and have a look at the giveaway, and just, it's super, super eye candy. Really, really good. Who else have I been watching this week? Let's give out a few shout outs. Sherry, Just So Sherry, has reached not only her 1 year Flossiversary, but also her 3K subscribers. So congratulations, Sherry, well done. Very, very well. Very, very well deserved. I was watching Carol Saltbox this week and she was singing your praises, so congratulations. High Heel Stitcher, thank you for the shout out. Flossabilities, now Flossabilities, Lauren, have you seen the new chart cabin in the woods? I'm going to put a picture of it here. It is beautiful. It has already sold out of the hard copies that went to Talking Dog Stitchery. You can still get it on her Etsy shop, and I think there are some more hard copies going to Talking Dog very soon. Flossie Sews and Grows, Ellie Welly Stitcher, so many fabulous things. Something that's not quite so fabulous. Lovely lady called Alina, I'm going to put the name of her Etsy shop below, because I've written Over the Rainbow, but I can't remember if it's Living Over the Rainbow. I'll put the Etsy shop time down below. You'll know it as soon as I say it. She makes those fabulous little books. And again, I'll put a picture up there. She has been the victim of some of these dodgy Facebook sites, stealing her artwork, stealing her pictures, falsely scam selling kits, things like that. You know the scum of the earth that I'm talking about. And I've messaged her a couple of times because I've sort of brought to her attention a couple more, and she said she's been dealing with them for about 3 or 4 weeks. So I have purchased my own copy of that little book because I've wanted to make it for ages, and I just wanted to show her a little bit of support, and make sure that she's getting the credit and she's getting the money for her hard work, because those little books are so fabulous. There's 2 or 3 of them. If you've never seen or you've never been onto her Etsy shop, please do go and have a little look. Right, now Sampler September. Is it our favourite month of the year? It might well be. Another freebie just very quickly, this came from Hobby House as one of their free downloads, but it's actually by Just Stitching Along, and it's called Miss Mary Yerger. Now, it is a Pennsylvanian German sampler, and it says "Be thankful always" on the bottom. It is not pink. It is not pink. Me and the printer have decided that we perhaps don't get on like we used to, and everything's coming out with a rosy glow to it. So it is actually creams and greens and browns, but this is a little freebie chart which would be perfect if you're looking for something for Sampler September. However, you may also want to stitch this with me. Now, a little while ago, I had asked on my FlossTube as to whether people would be interested in my charts that don't yet have a model. And a lot of people said, absolutely no problem. We know the chart will be great. We know you've got some really good stuff. Just get on with it. We want the stuff. We want the charts. We want to be able to stitch your samplers without having to wait for you because you're slow. So I have charted this one, and I am going to be stitching this through Sampler September. And I'm going to release the chart this coming week so that you can stitch it in Sampler September as well if you want to. Now, the reason that I'm releasing it in this coming week rather than tomorrow is because I'm just waiting on the DMC, and I just want to make sure, one final check with all the DMCs in hand, that I've got all the colours perfectly. Okay, but this is the one that I have charted, which I know you love. So this is Hannah Atwater 1832. Now, she came with these horrible, horrible folds in her, and I need to spend a little bit of time just gently relaxing her. We're doing her a bit of a story, nice comfortable music, that sort of thing, but just to get the creases out. But I love this sampler. So the reason I like it is because you've got these rows, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of pot plants, some crowns, some little birds. And I also love the font that she's used for her name. It's almost Quaker inspired. Now, I haven't been able to tie her down as a Quaker. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. I just haven't quite found the information yet. I think she's from Sussex, but I'm not 100% sure. Not all Quakers, if you've ever looked at other Quaker samplers, not all Quaker samplers are these kind of medallions. A lot are, and the ones that are very popular are, but they're not all like that. So it's a possibility she could be a Quaker, and I just haven't found it yet, or a Quaker influence, shall we say. So I have charted this in DMC. Now, there's only about 9 or 10 DMCs in the whole thing. There's a couple of greens, a couple of browns, this sort of rust colour here. It's all stitched over 2. So this would be Ada friendly, pretty much. You'd have to make a slight alteration in this motif here, but in the instructions it will tell you how to do that and what you would need to do that. But I love this. It is 274 by 345 or something similar, very, very close to those numbers. So it's not small. On a fat quarter, 36 count, it will fit on with just under the 2-inch margins at the sides. 40 count would be fine, 32 count you'd need bigger than a fat quarter. So I'm going to be stitching it on this, which is a piece of 36 count R&R Reproductions Winter Brew, which I got from Talking Dog Stitchery. She had a few pieces that she put up on Instagram, just sort of message only, first come first served, and I managed to snag a piece of this. As you can see, it's a pretty good pretty good match for the original, although she is stitched on much smaller fabric. So I shall be stitching her this coming sample September, and you can too if you'd like to. I'm not saying it's a stitch along, because we all know how rubbish I am at those, especially my own. So there's that. Talking of stitch alongs, I am also going to be starting a couple of stitch alongs, not my own. So the lovely ladies at Caterpillar Cross Stitch contacted me and asked me if I'd like to be part of their Christmas stitch along, which is called Holly Jolly Kitchen. And the kit arrived, and it starts on, I wrote it down, the 17th of September. So it means you'll be able to get your kit, if you would like a kit, and get ready for the 17th. So let's see what comes in here. Brilliant organisation, as you would expect from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. There's all the threads, and it's a piece of 28 count pale green. I hope you can see that's a pale green. I think it's called Sage. Why do I think it's called Sage? Pale green. It just says pale green. I'm sure I read somewhere it's called Sage. Don't know how well. There we go. You can see it's sage, or pale green at least. And also get instruction card. Obviously no chart yet. You don't get the chart until the 17th in PDF. And I'm sure you've heard about the famous Caterpillar Cross Stitch needle minders, which are sublime. They are amazing. So it comes with that. So you can go on to Caterpillar Cross Stitch and you can get your kit. I do have a discount code which I will put along the bottom. It gets you a 10% discount off your purchase of the kit. So please do go along and check out those, and we can start that together on the 17th of September. I am also starting a Love Poppet one. After loving the Love Poppet one from the summertime, she is doing one called Night Riders for Halloween. The pre-orders are open and it starts on the 29th of August. I'll pop a couple of pictures up there so you know what it's going to look like, but I've shown it on my Instagram and I can't wait. It's going to be fabulous. Right, let me get back to the booklet because I've gone off. I was going to do that earlier and that's kind of what's put me off. Right, no, I'm doing okay. We're on to purchases and something that I have already started charting. I'm going to save that till right at the very end. My Lighthouse came, which is one of the Fabulous House series from Cottage Garden Samplings. I get mine through Peakside. I also had my August Club from West Greenloft Yarns. This one is just called August Club. Just open it for you because it's a beautiful, beautiful colourway. Oops. Really nice. I know a couple of you have jumped into her club, having seen the ones that I've been getting. I get a 32 count on that one. And I also got my Fibre on a Whim club from Patchwork Rabbit, which is a quarterly club. And this time it's called Stone Belfast. Now that's probably going to wash out, but it is a really, really lovely sort of grey blue. Let me see if I put it next to that one, whether it will stop looking quite so white. It's not white. It's definitely a grey blue. That's it. It is, apart from this. How amazing is that? Try not to get some glare on the glass. But it is, I would say about 1870, 1880, a lovely little needlepoint of birds in a wreath, and there are 6 birds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have charted so far those 2, and it looks fabulous. Now I think I'm going to do this as a twin colourway, because this is the front. Now the back, the paper was already loose, so I've taken off the back, and you can see that it's a lot brighter. I do like the front colourway, I have to say, but what it really affects is not these oranges and browns, they all stay the same, but here this bird's got quite a yellow belly, as up here. This bird is actually a purple, and these birds here, and where they look grey, they are actually this beautiful blue. So I think what I might do is I might put both colourways of the chart in the pack, because it will just mean changing 2 or 3 colours to get you either this muted one or the brighter one. I think I'm going to stitch the brighter one because I've stitched my other 2 birds from the back, and this will make a really, really nice addition to it. Now I'm going to include obviously the corner detail, but you might want to stitch yours just in the round and put it in a hoop for Christmas. I think it's a really kind of Christmassy, beautiful stitch, beautiful design. I can't wait to see the colours. I can't wait to see the colours. This is not going to be finished next week, folks. I know I said that. My last 2 birds, I showed you them. I charted them. I stitched them in a week. This is not going to be finished in a week, but it will be out very soon. I'm going to use to stitch mine, I think, a 36 count linen, sorry, 35 count linen from Weeks Dye Works, which I've got quite a nice big piece of here, because I think it will suit it very well. Right, that's it from me. Apologies for, it might be a slightly scattergun approach today. I don't know. But I'm waffling now, which means that it's time for me to go and time for me to see you next week. Stay classy, Stitchers.